الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا وسلم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير ونشهد أن سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيبنا محمد رسول الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. عباد الله، أوصيكم بتقوى الله وطاعته وكثرة مخافته ولزوم أوامره، فإن التقوى شعار المؤمنين ودثار المتقين، ووصية الله تعالى في وفيكم أجمعين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة في الدين ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. Brothers and sisters in Islam, if someone comes and look at us in this center and give us an application or a form to see the background of each of us and what we have done and what we are doing for our survival on this land. Rarely that you will see the combination of a group of people to do the same thing. That each of us takes a different route. In fact, if you come even on the familyhood, that the father and the children most of the time are different. This one is taking different path of life, and this one is another path. Why is that? Why the people are trying to get in a better or in a different route for her survival? And we know for sure that if I'm a son, my father took a path, he was able to survive. But I'm not taking that one, I'll take another one. So on and so forth applies to anyone. If you drive outside and you go outside, or even to go to the major, more crowded cities, that people exactly is like the kingdom of the ants, moving and coming as the whole world is busy. Do you think it's just everything is for the sake of bringing food on the table? Any intellect person will say that's not the main purpose. It's not the main purpose. Just to survive and to generate enough money for the food and to have a house to live in. It goes beyond that. So it has to be a factor inside human being that it pushes the person to go much, much higher and try to drive him in a more higher mileage and to go and not to have a rest in his entire life. We look for one word, happiness, as-sa'ada. This is the word that people, different ways of living, leaving the land that they grow up on it. They leave that land, they go to somewhere else because of safety. But at the end, the safety will lead to what? The safety is attached to something to have to enjoy the life, to give you happiness. This is the key word and the password for the life that people are looking and trying to get to it. But now, how can we get there? And what is this word is really entitled to? If I give again another form to anyone on this in this holy place, and to ask you what is the main thing that in life that you are wanted to have. If I ask anyone is old, he says, I wish I will go and get back my age time when I was young. If the person is sick, he says the health is the best that I want to get it now. If the person is a student, he says, I want to pass it with a high degree. If the person made the interview today, he says, if I will be accepted to get that job offer. Everyone's wish and idea for the future is different. Have you been driving with your daughter or your son, 14 years old, that is time in a year will get a permit? You are driving with him, driving Accord of 2010 or something in that similar. And then the child will look at the BMW and look at the Tesla, will look at the other cars which are in the highest, that my first car will be Tesla. The child focuses the happiness into position herself or himself inside that car to drive. Will ignore all of the other paths that he is the one to buy me the car and he is the one to support me. Now he's driving 2010 car. How come I could get that? But that blocker will not come. So the joy of the happiness of the target for the life is always ahead of you. Is always get there, human being. That's the way we live. Otherwise, we all sit there and we plan something and then we get the harvest and we survive. But that's not the way the life is. In fact, a few days ago, I was reading a quote from Albert Einstein when he got the Nobel Prize for the physics. When he came out, the belly boy guy, he wanted to tip him to give him something, but he didn't have any cash. He didn't. So he had a piece of paper, he wrote it on it. So this is the exact quote that he wrote. That a calm and a modest life brings more happiness than a pursuit of success combined with a constant restlessness. What he said that in simple words, that the simple life, that not to be really running around will give you more happiness compared to the challenge life that you are in a competition. Even if you gain more stuff in your life, but you will have less happiness. And the paper was sold like a few days, some time ago, for $1.3 million. One person bought it. So in an auction. So this is the man is the highest from the intellect part. So that's when he get to that point that the science will not get you in a position that you will get 100% of the happiness. What is left? The material life will left that the things that you have and you're trying to get, well, that will give you a life as well, will get you to the position that to be happy in this life fully. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran in Tawbah, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فلا تعجبك أموالهم ولا أولادهم إنما يريد الله ليعذبهم بها في الحياة الدنيا. When I was young, very young, I was reading this verse, it was conflicting in my mind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse clearly says that فَلَا تُعْجِبْكَ أَمْوَالُهُم. Do not surprise you, astonish you, amaze you for their wealth and then for their children and their wealth which have been given in this life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly, إنما أداة حصر للتوكيد, truly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala إنما يريد الله ليعذبهم بها في الحياة الدنيا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants with those to punish them in this life. But you look at the life of people when they are oppressing people, they are non-believers, but they seem from outside that they are happy. How come? Where is that punishment? Where is that comes that will be a punishment for them? So the punishment is always we think that person when he has it has to be poor, has to not have enough food to survive, has to be all time sick, or things that we always think about the mashaqqa. But the mashaqqa is not always that from the physical life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human being from two parts. من الطين والروح. From the material life, which is the clay, the physical, the body that you have, and there is operating system internal, which is the soul that you have. So those two are two different things. If we take only the physical part of it, that's what all of us, our images are focusing on. Because no way we have been given a vision or an idea how the internal part works. So we only focus on that. But if you measure everything on the physical part of it, you take out the humanity you will take out the image from the human being level. Because we are human, that we claim that we are super on this planet because of here, because the soul that you have. Otherwise, I will give you an example. If a person invited you to aqiqah or walima or the invitation to go and invite you to an occasion, and then you go there as well. You look at a person, one person came, you are standing, the person who is the sponsoring the event is there and welcoming the people. One person comes, you look at him, everybody looks at him, this person comes, and then the food, the buffet is there in a back. This person comes into the place without even greeting the person, without even talking to that person, right to the buffet, and go and eat and enjoy there, as if no one exists in this room. So if this is repeated, maybe one time you say this man was hungry. But if you repeat it the second time and the third time, you will never see a person to invite this person. Do you all agree on that? Because this person say that he has no respect for anyone, because he took out the matter of the human being level, that we go and then at least make a salam to that person and talk to the person and thank the person. Then you follow the schedule after that when the time of the food comes, because you draw the line. Otherwise, what's the difference, hashakum, between that and a cow? Will come in and we'll see the food, we'll go and eat from the food. What's the difference? So when they take out the part which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specified, then that's where the distinct will be separate. Therefore, the mashaqqa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the punishment here is not the matter that you have to physically see the person is dying. The person has a wealth, but he has no rest. His brain is always counting the numbers. His mind is always somewhere. He's making the haram food, and then the haram food will bring it home. Nobody will say thank you. And we'll see the child that he has spent his money and will take over and spend it without even say anything. And then by the time you'll get to the age that you say, well, what did I do? I spent all my life in this, but now here were the things that I see in my life. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith, he says, "Man kanat al-akhirah hammu." Whoever hereafter is his target. Hereafter is his target. جعل الله غناه في قلبه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put the richness in his heart. وجمع شمله. And will collect himself. Will collect himself. جمع شمل, what does that mean? جمع شمل is like, if I ask you, do you have any issue in your life? And then you will say, from where I can start. From the children, from the work, from the car issue, from the house issue, from whatever you have a major list. Whenever you go, like 20, 30 things in front of you always are open. But if these things are combined for you and will make it easy for you, then you don't have much worry in the life. So, because you look at the hereafter, when Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kanat al-akhir hammu, ja'ala Allahu dunya fi غناه في قلبه, وجمع له شمله, وأتته الدنيا وهي راغمة." And the dunya will come to him unwillingly. Because, wallahi, at the end of the day, the time that you have been spent it, if you look at the chart, you put the income of your life as well, how much you made it in every year, and compare the happinesses and enjoyments, you will not see, if in a year, if you made $20,000 and now you make $60,000, you don't see that difference of the enjoyment when you made 20 and you made 60. Its life was, always you go back to say that, you know what, the past was much better. The past was easier. The past was 80s and 90s were much better than the life that we are in now. Why? You had no income. Barely that you have meat on your food. Once a week, once a month. Now every day you have that food. So enjoyment is not in the food. Enjoyment not in the money. Enjoyment not in the style of life. So where is it? Where is it hidden that people are not satisfied as much as even they go and spread in all the side? I will finish it in the second khutbah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. من عمل صالحا فلنفسه ومن أساء فعليها وما ربك بظلام للعبيد توجهوا إلى الله بالدعاء. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the second part of the hadith says, وَمَنْ كَانَتِ الدُّنْيَا هَمُّهُ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ فَقْرَهُ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ. And whoever his target is only this life, the poverty will be in front of his eyes wherever he goes. Always he's afraid that he will die out of the hunger. He will be bankrupt. He will be all those always in front of you. Because you look at the measure of this life. And that's tied with this life always competition. There is nothing is guaranteed. Today that you buy a car with $10,000, there is no guarantee tomorrow will be 1,000 or be 20,000. We all know, especially with this COVID that it came now among the life that 180 degrees changed the life of the people of the way to think about the life. And this is the part the Prophet ﷺ said, جعل الله فقره بين عينيه وفرق عليه شمله ولم يأته من الدنيا إلا ما قدر له. And then it will spread and divide all the self-collectedness, and we'll see always scattered things. He can't even focus on one item. He has 10 are popping up on him. And from the dunya that what he gets, is nothing except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided on him. Al-Hadith rawahu Tirmidhi wa Ibn Majah. Ibn al-Qayyim says, أبلغ عذاب من الدنيا. The worst punishment in this life is تشتيت الشمل وتفريق القلب. Is where you cannot collect yourself. And then when your heart is not settled on anything, is always hesitate. This job will make me rich? No. Let me go with this one. Let me try that one. Let me try that one. And then compete with the other one. Be jealousy toward the other person. Now, how come that person, just with a small move, make that much? And I am killing myself and I don't do much. And I'm not getting anything out of this. Those are questions, valid questions. But the questions are, there is no answer for them. There is no way to this brain to be able to process those. That's why we have to look for exactly where is that happiness comes from it. And that is really comes with the tranquility of the heart, which is part of the La sakinata bila iman. There is no way that you will get it without belief and the iman to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hereafter. Because those two combined, al-imanu billah wal yawm al-akhir, those two things. If there would not have been day of judgment, a life will be ended here, then you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If unless He will torture you in this life, it will be something preferable that you do it. But if the person doesn't want to follow, then he will die like any other person has died. It will be unfairness. And ma'adallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unfair. Therefore, the sequence is that believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and hereafter to continue and make that balance and the just for the life. And the one who loves this life completely, when we say love this life, does not mean you have to stay in this masjid 24/7. When we say muhibbud dunya, is the one, if you ask him, if he has a prayer and he has a life, he will prefer the other one on his prayer. It's always dunya is before his deen. That's where the muhibbud dunya is. Or does not do anything from the deen. So there are three things that it will never be disconnected from that person. Hammun lazim. Has to continue chronic grief. It will never, that person will be satisfied. Never. He will never be satisfied. Number two is ta'abun da'im. A continuous tiredness. Restlessness that to work. And to have enjoyment and suffering for the future. And hasratun la tanqadi. An endless regret of the griefs. He's doing, I don't know, stock market or whatever other things that he does. I wish I have done that. After 2 years, I say, I wish I have done that. He just hid here, hid there, and hid. That's where he is suffering from what has done in the past and didn't work out. Whatever enjoy, even if he makes something, but that suffering of yesterday or a month ago or a year ago is always there. Same for the health. Same for the children that he has. How come I don't have children? He has children. So all of those that he's looking, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you don't have the iman, you will get lost. You can't get the results. You try hard, but you can't make it. You can't make it like the X and Y person. But if you go to the X and Y person who's in the higher and deep dive into his heart, you see that the person has billions and billions. He's 90. Look at the Buffett. He's 90, above 90s, and then the man is thinking that he wants to live for years and years and centuries, the way that he works hard. So the matter is, have to have somewhere you adjust that tranquility and give that sakina to the heart. And I decided really the khutbah is long to divide it into 2 khutbahs at least. So number one is why we say the believer is the one who is really the real owner of the tranquility and happiness. Number one is part of the fitrah. Nature or the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built it in us. If you look at anywhere in this world, and every village or every city or major city, smaller city, that you look at the life of the people in the past and in the present, They know that there is something here is missing. So we built worshiping places. Doesn't matter what we worship. But we know, as Ibn al-Qayyim says, that the heart has something. That he says, إِنَّ فِي الْقَلْبِ شَعَثٌ لَا يُلِمُّهُ إِلَّا الْإِقْبَالُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. There is a disconnect in the heart. Has to have something to reconnect it back. Even if it's wrong, it needs to reconnect it. It will not give full satisfaction. And that's where it shows the lack of the human being, that he has no full power on this planet. So he built a house, he worship a mice, he worship a cow, he worship an idol, he worship whatever there. And he has PhD in physics and in math, in medical, but the person comes down and bows down to that stone. It just doesn't go there. Why is that? Because it is really that peace. You don't feel it because you have the base of the iman at the top. But if you come, you can't try out this. And the haqa'iq, the truth cannot be changed. إن الحقائق لا تتغير بالألفاظ. You can't change the truth with the statement. If you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you believe this is a paper, I believe this is a paper. It's here, I believe this is a paper. But if you put a gun on my head and you say this is a paper or not, if I know the guy will kill me, to say this is a paper, I say no, this is water. Whatever you like, I will say that. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, the matter of the Ammar ibn Yasir, under the torture, that he couldn't handle the torture anymore. They told him the idol is your Lord or not. He said yes. I don't believe in Muhammad and God. This is to be one Allah. Yes, this is the Lord. And then they released him to go. They released him to go, but the companions of the Prophet, they heard him. He said that. They said, oh man, Ammar became unbeliever. How come that? And then we went to the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ has no answer. The man became, with the pronunciation, with the spelling, he became a non-believer. But he went back to the Prophet ﷺ and said, by Allah, I didn't mean it. But I can't handle that torture. Then the verse came down, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ. Except the one which have been forced to make the kufr, but his heart is full of the belief. That's where the line is, the distinct is here. And that's why you look for the joy and happiness in this life here. If you control this part, wallahi, it doesn't matter. You eat the meat once a year, or you eat it every day, for you the life is the same. Because here is connected with hereafter. It's not connected with this life. This body that you have, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ. This is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put these people on it. We compete with each other to get to more joy. No one will argue to have a good wife, to have a good husband, to have a good house, to have a good car, to have a good child, to have a good father, to have every good in everything. That's a target for everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this life to be happy when you have those. But the part is, any blocker comes in any of those, it will not mess up the entire thing. That's really the key thing. Because you know that this life is a temporary that it comes. And the fitrah which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to us in this life is that you have to have that iman. And the measurement of the iman is part between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, the matter of the person, then when becoming in an equation, it says, imanun, when the belief says, yusawi, ana mawjudun, ana mu'min. When I am exist, I am a believer. That's where the iman comes. That's where equal to. That you have to always to be part of you, like wearing inside, and you cannot be disconnected with it. Ana ufakir idha ana mu'min. When you think, you are a believer. When you walk, you are a believer. When you are human, you are a believer. So there is no time that the belief will be disconnected from you. That's where the nature, the fitrah comes with it and to be part of that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أأرباب متفرقون خير أم الله الواحد القهار. Imagine you are at work and you have 10 managers who are leading you to the work. Tell me what output you will get. And when you go to work, 10 persons are standing in front of you. Each person tell you to do certain things. And you just scattered. You start with this one, you can't finish it, the other one tell you something, and then at the end you will not have the output. In Zumar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a clear example. ضرب الله مثلا رجلا فيه شركاء متشاكسون ورجلا سلما للرجل هل يستويان مثلا. A man is owned by multiple scattered people, and one person also is tied with one person. Are the output of these two people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, هل يستويان مثلا, are they equal? They are not equal. The one who is tied with one is always will have a better direction. But the other one who is scattered, he can't focus on one thing. And at the end, 10 of them are angry. The managers, if you don't follow the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life, there are so many managers. Your desire, your ambitious, your jealousy, each of those will become your Lord and will try to drag you to somewhere that there is no end to it, and will make your life miserable. But when you tie to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the contentment, the qana'ah, you work hard as much as you can, but what He decided on you, you will be satisfied. With the health, with the children, with the wealth, with anything that He gave it to you. You will never have the complaint toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He has given you in this part. I'll finish it with this statement from one of the scholars. رحم الله العبد الصالح إلهي ماذا وجد من فقدك. Oh Allah, what did they find, the one who lost you? What did they find? What did they get, the one who lost you? And وماذا فقد من وجدك. And what did he lose, the one who found you? The one who is following you, he didn't lose anything, wallahi. Wallahi, at the end even, when you look at the person will follow this path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be the most happy people when he pass away, and for his children, the one who inherit. Who is good and follow this deen in this life and make a challenge in this world, while the people were not happy with him, while the people were they talk bad against him. No. Whoever followed truly on this path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahi, history also will put his name there in a way that he was the best among the people. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide all of us to the truth. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us iman in our heart, inshallah. Wa sallu wa sallim ala nabiyyikum tharin liqawlihi tabarak wa ta'ala. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا، واجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. اللهم وفقنا وفق أولادنا لما تحبه وترضاه، واغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولمن له حق علينا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك وطاعتك. يا محول الحال حول حالنا وحال جميع المسلمين إلى أحسن الحال. عباد الله، إن الله يأمركم بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله. قم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله